and a really wonderful man, Dieter Rehberg. Dieter is a psychological counselor, master of somatic movement therapy and education. He's a somatic dance educator, massage therapist, and performance artist. Dieter is a Traeger practitioner and certified in idiolectics and has extensive experience and knowledge in release technique, contact improvisation, creative dance, Alexander technique, and body-mind centering. He developed his method by integrating these different dance, bodywork, and counseling techniques from his 35 years of professional experience as a somatic therapist and a performance artist, and combining it with his insights into Buddhist theory and practice. He is the director of and founder of the Somatic Training. Dieter holds a Bachelor of Arts from the European Dance Development Center, the Trauma Certificate from Laurier University, and a Master of Arts in Somatic Studies from Middlesex University, UK. For 25 years, he worked in his private practice in Vienna, Austria, and teaches nationally, internationally, and online. Please help me welcome Dieter from Vienna today. Awesome, awesome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Liam, and thank you, Angie, for your warm welcome. I'm really excited to share my work here with USABP. Thank you for this invitation. I again go a little bit over the agenda. We will start with a little theory about my method and then what I think about self-regulation. And then we will do experiential work, sensing and moving. And as Liam said, it's good to have a safe space there. So, and a safe space means that everybody has their camera switched on and either is moving with us or showing their face. Showing their face means helping us to co-regulate. So if we see that there is an audience that is mindful and compassionate, you help us co-regulate, even if you do not move with us. But the movement is easy. So you just need a little space like I have behind me, and it will be very gentle and slow movements that I guide you through. So you are welcome really to join the movement. Then an important part of my work is always the feedback to be in dialogue. So I want to hear everyone's experience, but we are quite a lot today. So we cannot make a talking circle. So what I choose for feedback is the poetic experience list. So imagine your shopping list and you have 10 items. And instead of your shopping, you put 10 experiences. And you put it in a way that it's also poetic. So that also in between the lines, there's something that we can also experience. Yeah. So I suggest also that you have either some paper and pen beside you, or you have a text program open, so where you can prepare your poetic list. And after you prepare that, you should share it in the chat. So everybody then can see and read everybody's experience. You also can answer, but only answer individually to some other experiences. And I will read out aloud some of the lists also. So we all have then a sense of what was going on with all the others. That's after our sensing and moving. After that, I show another little bit of theory, and we go again into sensing and moving and have again the feedback as in the poetic list. And then is the time for Q&A, and also I can talk about my training before we go in overtime, where we have even more Q&A time. Good. Then I will share my screen and start. So if you do not see my shared screen with the word Physio-Mentale Entwicklung on it, you have to click in your new Zoom browser on the left upper corner onto the tab that says Dieter's screen. Yeah, that's the new Zoom workplace. If you have the old one, you will see it anyway. So, but I don't see it. Okay. So now I see it. Good. Physio-Mentale Entwicklung. I live in Austria. My language is German. That's why I called my method in a German word, Physio-Mentale Entwicklung. So what does this mean? The name is the aim. The aim is physio-mental development. 25 years ago, I was asked to be part in a center, and they asked me, so what are you doing? And I started to talk, well, do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and this and that and this. And I couldn't really talk about it. So I had to coin what I'm actually doing and what is the aim of what I'm doing. So the aim is that body and mind should develop. Barbara is painting on my screen. So body and mind should develop. Everything is changing in our body anyway, but we want to have a change in a certain direction. And when the direction is helpful and healing, I would call it development. But development not only means becoming bigger and better, it also means to come into balance and come into alignment. And for me, it also means self-regulation. And in German, the word Entwicklung means the opposite of entanglement. So also it means then becoming easy and effortless. So these are the aims of the work. It is a somatic method, and for me, somatic means that it has to involve sensing the own body from within. So a first-person research. To only move or to only have a model of the nerve system is not enough for me in order to be somatic. This definition comes from Dr. Thomas Hanna in the 70s. He coined it for his magazine, Somatic Magazine. So it's a first-person research. I'm sensing my own body to find out, or I'm sensing my own body to come to a helpful and healing development. Also, my method involves movement and touch. And it is presented either in one-on-one work or in group work, both. So you will experience a little bit of group work today. Principles. It is very client-centered, even you could call it constructivist, because the reality of the client is the thing that we are working with. So the body of the clients holds the solution, not the mind of the therapist, which is also quite special, because even in body psychotherapy, a lot of methods work in a way where the mind of the therapist holds the solution, and then the therapist works with the body of the client. We work differently. We believe that the body of the client holds the solution. And we also trust the wisdom of the body. The body knows what the body needs. So it's not the nuisance, it's not only the place where the pain is, it's also the place where the solution and the joy is. We really also work that. And you maybe will sense this on your own today. Then we really are focused on the resources. So from sensing the here and now, we are looking to the solution in the future. So we are not focusing on the pain and shit of the past. We are looking on what could be the future. We acknowledge if old emotions do come up, what they usually do, but we do not dig into it. So when there is enough safety, when there is enough support, it will show anyway. But we first look to supporting resources. And we are highly process-oriented, which means we are listening and following the answer of the body, which is often very absurd. Yeah, so we are very precise and we ask questions, and then we are listening to what is happening and we follow what is happening there. Then I defined also 4 keystones, and these 4 keystones also distinguish us from a lot of other somatic methods. One is that we work with quality of perception. This comes from Buddhist psychology. They claim there are 53 mind factors that are connected with each perception. And there are those mind factors that are helpful and healing and those that are not helpful and healing. And we work with that. So in a way, it's spiritual, but also it's very technical. So I found this very helpful for somatic work. And it's more than just being mindful. So mindfulness is already big, but mindfulness is only one mind factor of this 53. And the Buddhists say mindfulness is opening the door, but it's not enough to have helpful and healing effects. Then we work with a metaphor that I call the somatic dialogue. This means that whatever we do first, our intentional actions of sensing, moving, or touching are in the beginning just questions. And then we have to listen and support from the answer from within to the answer from the body. So all is about that. It's not my intentional movement that is doing the change. My intentional movement is the question, and then I have to listen for the change and for the helpful and healing development. This is also different to what a lot of other somatic methods are doing. Then keystone is self-organization, open-ended self-regulation. So self-regulation is the theme of today, and open-ended means that only the body knows what kind of self-regulation is good for him or her right now. We are asking for that, but it's not a cognitive decision from the outside what this self-regulation has to be. And then what is normal for psychotherapy is the reflection and verbal expression and sharing. This is normal for psychotherapy, but it's not normal for somatic work. So I remember I was told when I was studying release technique, I was told, don't think, just do it. don't ask questions. Yeah, and I found it quite dangerous actually. So in my work, of course, there is reflection, verbal expression, and sharing. So these are my attempts to try to bring my method on one page. 35 years of experience on one page, but I do believe that we have to find words for what we are doing, and it's an ongoing process. So then I will share about, oops. So this is the beginning. Self-regulation. So do you all see this brain and some words in there? Okay. So there are different systems of regulation. One and the most important is the brain. And the brain also has different systems of regulation. And this comes from my study in trauma from Laurier University. So you can more or less divide in the cortical part of the brain where thinking, speech, learning, inhibition is happening. You can say there is the limbic part where the emotions and the behavior and the attachment and social attachment is processed. And below that is the brain stem and even the spinal cord in our spine that is processing motor and sensory input and also output. So these are different parts of regulation. If you look at regulation and look at cybernetics, the science of regulation, our body more or less functions like a half open, half closed system. Homeostasis or homodynamics work in a way that from the control center, information goes to somewhere where an output is happening. And then there's a feedback going on so that we can adapt to what is going on. And this is also our knowledge, what we have learned or what was in our DNA. And then as this would be the closed system. And then, but we also can have new input, new sensation, and then it needs to be processed, old or new, maybe is taken on or not, and this brings then a different output or a different kind of output. So this is half open, half closed system of self-regulation. So in a way, we can say that all these parts of the brain do that. So when we look at sensory motor, it's quite clear. Yeah, we are sensing something, then there is some will to say, move there, or it's a reflex more on that level. And then the muscle is tensing, and this tension is sensed again so that we can move. And then maybe there is some new input from the outside also happening because there is some sore muscles or there is some push or pull going on. So sensory motor. You also can say that this is happening with the emotions. So there is a trigger from the outside, and our emotions start, and then they go on even without the trigger, something that we know. So something makes us angry, and then this is even a way, but it goes on, and the anger stays. So it's a half open or half closed circle. Also, what we know cognitively, we know, but we are also open for new input, but we are processing it. Does it relate to what we already know, and can we take it on or not? So these feedback loops and these half closed, half open circles are in all our regulation systems. So what are we doing then in body psychotherapy or somatic work? So there are some methods that make a cognitive decision and want an output of emotion, or you want to control your emotion. I can't be angry now. Yeah. Or you make a cognitive decision and you want a movement output. I have to be upright now. Something like that. These things can work because there is a feedback, but they are very likely that there's also resistance because it's a little bit forced on the output. Yeah. What we all know also from the practice in psychotherapy, there can be resistance easily, and it's not easy to control our emotion. It's not easy to follow exact form of movement. So what are we doing? In somatic work, we do it a little bit different. We make a cognitive decision, and the decision is to put attention on inward physical sensation. And we also do it with a quality of sensation. I will lead you through mindful and compassionate inward sensation. And we also make the decision to support resources. So, and as we are focusing on sensation, we are producing new input for the sensory motor system, the low system. So something that we can sense in our body. And we do this with an open question. So if this happens, if we sense this way, what are you deciding there? So we are asking, and there is no force, there is a question. And because of that, most of the time, there is an open output and an open answer that is then helpful and healing. So most of the time this is happening. It doesn't mean that it's happening all the time, but we are asking the question, and if we are asking in that way with new sensory input, most of the time the next action will also be helpful and healing. That's also what the Buddhists call the law of action. And if we have some new movement, some new sensations down there, it does affect our emotional system and also our cognitive system, because we can say, is this pleasant or unpleasant, what's happening there? And what do I think about it? Is this helpful for me or not? Yeah. So in that way, we can integrate it then again into our whole self. And that's why in the end, it's very important that we find words for our experience. That's why I will ask you to write down your poetic list, because then the sensation can be integrated in the feeling, because it's a poetic list. Maybe you can write down some feelings and what you think about it. And that way it is becoming more holistic. But we start from down there, sensing and moving. So, and then we start all over again, because it's a cyclic, circlic. Somebody told me how it is right. I can't remember. Movement. So when we think, this is good, then we can decide to sense again. And actually, it is going on in the blink of an eye. It's going on all the time, but it's good to know that this is the process. Yeah. So we can look at it. If it's done this way, I call it then that there's a positive processing going on, and there's not a lot of resistance because it feels good. I think positive about it. let's let it into the body. Yeah. So, and that's why if it works, it can go very far quite quickly. Yeah. Because of that. Doesn't mean that it works all the time. Good. So, are we in time? Yes, I am in time. Great. So this was the theory, and it looks very sophisticated and complicated, but actually it's quite easy and it feels quite natural to do. And it feels good. So then I stop this and I will ask you to prepare your space, to show your face, to prepare something to write for the end, because now we will start about 20 minutes of sensing and moving.